I began this battle, my soul was so damn fragile. I was looking at life through a fog. I lost my baby girl and they killed my dog. I was laying on the bottom feeling sad, thinking about doing bad things, raging fucking mad. I couldn't understand why I was chosen. Then it led to my raging explosion. I am the one who can make this better. It's my job to make things right. I need to pick myself up. It's time for my biggest fight. Wrap your kids in the Bible. Wrap your kids in the flag. CPS is from the devil. Y'all know that it's a fact. I'm a father that went to jail. I cherish my daughter. It was nothing when they come for her and me. There should have been a slaughter. Stand with us. Make parenting great again. Abolish CPS. Ambush with the black SUVs. They come armed, they came for me, and they came for her. Stand with us, make parenting great again, abolish CPS. They took her from me, she's across the state. Gone for a year now, taken away. All these people who have written me off, I'm here to show my face and tell you you're wrong. I never was as good as you, and for the record we know that's not true. I'm not trying for a comparison. How dare you, you're embarrassing. I don't wanna be as good as anyone else. I fight this battle, I fight for myself. I am the one who can make this better. It's my job to make things right. I need to pick myself up. It's time for my biggest fight. I don't care about your judgment, I'm glad you gave us this test. But when your life is over, will your heart sleep quietly in your chest? I've got more life to live. As a matter of fact, it's just beginning. I've been given a challenge and my daughter is waiting. It's a fight I can't walk away from, a new life we are creating. So why you sit there mouth full of hating? Be sure my mind is planning on invading. I've got a war to fight and I'm on. I won't give up, I need to win, this is bigger than you. I don't expect you to understand. I am the one who can start over. It's my job to make things right. I need to pick myself up. It's time for the biggest fight. I won't be left behind. This is the time, I call it mine. Step out of the way unless you wanna play Trump. Stand with us. Make parenting great again. Abolish CPS. There is no time for bickering. The clocks are flickering. Pick up your weapon and join me. If not, go back to ignoring me. I will be on top. Pistol going pop, pop. Money falling from my pockets. You'll still be lying on dockets. So fuck you.
The world shattered. It wasn't a gunshot or an explosion, it was the silence after the knock. A knock on the door. Men in suits, they took them. My wife, my children, gone. They called it protection, said they were helping. Lies, all lies. The government ripped my family from my arms, they were gone, swallowed by a system that claims to care. Emptiness consumed me. Rage followed. The system I trusted betrayed me. They took everything. Now I have nothing left to lose. This is my story, shared with you through this podcast. From the ashes of despair, a new mission ignited. I would become the guardian they never had, the protector of families facing this insidious threat, the CPS punisher. Like the demon that took my family, I embraced a skull, a symbol of warning, a beacon to those who would prey on the innocent. They will know fear. This is personal. It's a fight for every parent, every child facing this nightmare. We will expose the truth. We will fight back. Knowledge is our weapon. They thrive on ignorance, on fear. We will arm ourselves with information. Learn the signs. Understand your rights. Never let them take your children. Avoid any interaction with CPS. Don't speak without a lawyer. Document everything. Their power lies in silence and fear. We will break that silence. This information can be the difference between keeping your family safe and losing them forever. Spread the word. Share this knowledge. Protect yourselves. This is a call to arms. We need your voice, your strength, your courage. Join the movement. Share your stories. Expose the truth about CPS. Together we will be a force they cannot ignore. We will fight for reform. We will demand accountability. We will protect our children. This isn't just about me, it's about us. It's about the future of our families. Join the fight. Our children are counting on us.
I'm just your average parent trying to do right by my kids. Never thought I'd have to, deal with something like this. It was a regular Tuesday afternoon. The kids' toys were scattered everywhere. Then there was a knock at the door. My heart sank when I saw who it was.
Hello, I'm from Child Protective Services. We've received a report and need to inspect your home.
I didn't know what to do. They wanted to come in, look around, talk to my kids. My hands were shaking. I felt like I was doing something wrong even though I knew I wasn't. But then, I remembered something I'd read online about knowing your rights. I took a deep breath and said, "I'm sorry, but unless you have a warrant, I can't let you in." The CPS worker looked surprised. They weren't used to parents knowing their rights. It wasn't easy, but I stood my ground. I protected my family's privacy that day. Remember, when CPS knocks, know your rights. It can make all the difference.
What's up, everybody? I am your host, the CPS Punisher, and we've got ourselves here on a Wednesday evening. A balmy one, too, that this was this evening here in Maine. It is downright cold. But hey, we're here. We got the chat right here on the right-hand side, as always. You know what? I'll put some CPS information right there. If these son of a bitches would stop calling me, they know I do a show every night, so I don't know why they continuously call. Apparently some people are stupid. So there, we'll get rid of them. Sorry about that. Yeah, like, share, subscribe. I didn't mean to play Brenda's opening there at the beginning, but I did. It is a nice beginning. Do you all check out Breaking Back Brenda earlier? It was good. She's got a nice beginning right here. Check this out. You guys haven't seen it. You guys hear a song?
Used to walk these streets with pride. Her husband, Chris, a patriot by her side.
It's on Wednesday nights, guys.
But the weight of the world came crashing down.
But yeah, we got Bringing Back Brenda. Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 o'clock. Make sure you check it out. It's good stuff. Oh, man. So what's going on, everybody? What do we got going on in this world today? We got a lot going on. That's what's happening. CPS is getting the hell kicked out of them today down in Washington, D.C. with the Family Forward Project. Connie's down there. Their buddy Brian, he's down there. They're all just hammering away at these people. There's a bunch of stuff going on there. Plus, I read a quick brief that it said that the buzz in Washington is the Supreme Court, or not the Supreme Court, the politicians down there are saying no with this child support stuff. So that's cool too. We got that going on. So we got a lot of things that are moving. A lot of things that were moving. I mean, last night, that was a great show on Tiff and the Punisher. Not last night, the night before, where we had the family court warrior, family court fraud warrior. That was really good stuff. So, guys, if you want to make your videos for him, please do so. That would be really huge to get them in on that thing. To get him in on his project. He wants a quick video that says, let me see here. It says, I am not a criminal. I haven't seen my kids in X amount of days. And then, well, there's a little bit more to the end. Family court fraud lawyer. Yeah, he is a little bit of an end. Let me tighten that one up. Just to be sure. And then don't forget to check out Sylvia Beachy on her stuff. Brain cramp, sorry. Fosters. Yeah. If you write up Sylvia Beachy, let me get it for you guys right here. Actually, you know what, guys? Let's pull up a little bit of Sylvia's stuff. Let's take a look at what she does. I mean, we're getting a lot of names up here, guys, of people that are heavy hitters, if you will, because that's what we're trying to get to, right? We're trying to get to we're trying to get ourselves up to some heavy hitters to start leading the way in this fight, making some difference, right? Rescue the Fosters, that's right. That's Sylvia's, her place, her organization, so that's really cool. Let me see here. Let's see if we can get some. Let me see what I can find up on Sylvia. I'd like to get her back in here and chat with her a little bit more. So let's see what we can find here, though, that they have on. Let's see. You know, Paris Hilton is in on this fight, too, with the Foster family side. So that's cool. You know, she's a name brand, you know, a face that people know. Rescue the Fosters now has a channel on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Perfect. As you may show, let me share this with you guys so you guys can see Sylvia's X site, and you guys can also, you know, you guys can access this stuff yourself. Because we know that there's a lot of information that you need to obtain when you're online. But this is Sylvia's X site right here, guys. Let's see here. Oh, all right, here we go. We are truly honored to fight alongside these brave families. Let's see what this is all about here.
And in fact, for the Timms family, for Brady and Carrie, 2 years had gone by. No indictment, just hanging over their head. They can't have their baby with them. They get supervised visits. They don't know what's going to happen in the state of Georgia. When it's crimes against with children, you have 4 years to be indicted. So you can just wait for 4 years, and that's what their attorneys wanted them to do. Just wait the 4 years. If you don't get indicted, everything will be fine. They went public with You Are the Power, and it was like a week, 10 days later, they got indicted.
There we go.
So they were punished for going public.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like they're also punishing them just for, I mean, the whole waiting seems like a punishment in and of itself. I mean, that has got to weigh on you as a parent if you're just sitting for up to 4 years waiting to possibly be indicted.
And missing time with your kids.
Yeah.
Bonding time. Just like Jennifer said, these are young babies. This is the most critical time for any, and a pediatrician will tell you this. Like the same people who are involved in the removal of these children are the same people who will tell you this is one of the most critical times for bonding with these babies, and they have no problem taking them from their parents. I mean, this is literally the definition of whirlwind of emotions, because you have a brand new baby, you find out they have fractures or some sort of hemorrhage, you're trying to process that, and then you have your baby taken from you, and then often your other children taken from you. And then you're facing criminal charges, and then you're separated, not allowed to talk to your spouse. And now you have a juvenile court case and a criminal court case for this indictment hanging over you. And you have to pay for all of this. And you have no support system. I mean, these parents, you want to talk about strong people, you will not meet strong people from these parents. You just won't. With everything they have to go through, you just won't meet stronger people.
Yeah, and it's so amazing because some of these parents, Grant Phillips is in Indiana. He went through this. He's now a state organizer for You Are the Power. Tasha Patterson is going through this in Florida, and she's putting a bill in, a second opinion medical bill with her husband, trying to get Patterson's law passed. Jenna Foster, I think she's in Virginia. She went through this. She's now a state organizer for You Are the Power. These parents fight back.
All right. That's some cool stuff, people, right there. You Are the Power. That's another group that we need to try to get ourselves in with, apparently. So I'm gonna write that down in the book of things to do. I don't have enough to do, but you know what? This is how we get the word around. This is what we do. This is how we do it. So You Are the Power. I see Mr. Gunner's in there. I see the back of his his head right there. He looks good. You Are the Power, Gunner. You know about them? Let's see what Gunner says about this. He's just sitting there trying to listen, but he's talking away. Look at him in there. Anyway, so You Are the Power. We're going to check them out. We're going to vet that, see what you guys think about that. Let me write this down here. This is what I want to start doing, guys. We need to get the names of all these groups, and we need to put these things together as a big hub, right? We need to make this hub so that everybody is connected. That's what that's been my dream about working on. I'm still working on the website. Carrie's family. Honestly, I'm ashamed to say that I'm not quite sure how they're doing. I've kind of lost touch with them. It's a hard thing to deal with for me, and then for some others that are here. This fight isn't hard enough to deal with when you're dealing with this, and the fact that you don't have your kid, and you're fighting this fight for so many others. You turn cold. You turn cold towards emotions. You turn cold towards a lot of things, because there's no good days with this. There's not very many good days at all that you get to hear, oh, a family got reunited or something good happens. So honestly, for me personally, it's hard to cope with the loss of Carrie and dealing with her family. I think we just constantly regurgitate things. So for my own sake, I've kind of not for any rude or not for any ill meanings, but I kind of step away from them. But I'm sure that Greg's doing fine. I'm sure that Colin's doing fine, other than the fact that their mom's gone. So, if you want to go ahead and guess how they're doing, I would say that it's probably hard. It's probably really hard. Just Carrie, I know it's hard here to be without Carrie. So, but yeah, that's how that is with Carrie. Hey, did you guys know that I had a podcast before? I did this stuff before that. It was I got involved with the actual TV stuff. I had a podcast. It's called That's Our Daughter, and it was about my story of what I was going through in the courts. It's available here on this YouTube channel, and it's really you guys should check it out. It's some decent listening. I think I did all right with it, but I told my entire story on that, and I don't know. That was a lot of reason that things went the way that they did in our case, because they said I was fighting against them. I was spreading lies, and I was doing this, that, and this. They even used it to get a restraining order on me, which again, that was their lies in court. I never threatened anybody, and nothing was a stalking thing. There was no any of that. But yeah, because I did the podcast, which my counselor was the one that had kind of pushed me in that direction. She's like, you need to vent. and you need to wait for yourself to get hurt. She goes, why don't you do a podcast? You know, like that's good. So every so often I would do a new episode of That's Our Daughter, and I would talk about where my case was, what was going on. I dramatized it a little bit with the music and everything, but you guys should all check it out. It's like I said, it's in the on the YouTube channel, and if you just go to podcasts, go down there and you'll see there's a ton of episodes there. If you guys need just some listening music one day or some listening stuff, you don't want to be, you know, like stuck on the screen. Well, where did they say? What did they say? So you guys should definitely check that out too. Gunner's back right here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's pull him in. Well, who'd you piss off right now?
Nobody. I actually stayed pretty cool today, but
I pissed off.
I'm here talking this fucking bit, man, and I'm just ready to go and all this other stuff. And part of the stuff we had going on with some other things that we were dealing with, we come to find out nothing that you know about, but that other thing she was dealing with now has to be done in 3 states.
Oh, wow. It keeps getting bad. I know I kept getting the text messages, and I'm sitting there typing away as fast as I can type and doing a couple of things. I'm like, Jesus, man. And I'm like, holy cow, this thing just keeps expanding. It's crazy.
Man,
isn't that why it's so like ADD just dealing with this stuff? You know, like you start with working on a visitation, but then the next thing you know, 2 hours later, you're doing research on Title IV funding that, you know, it's all tied together, but there's so much pieces of this stuff that's just
it is a very elaborate web that they have weaved over a period of time through the courts, through the states, even, I mean, all of it unconstitutional, a little bit at a time, a little nudge here, this and that. But even to find out that they actually have people that go around the country, there are companies that train CPS and police officers and how to gain entry into homes, is the way they label it, with difficult parents or difficult people. They are training coercion to the Fourth Amendment. And your tax dollars are paying for that shit. Literally, we've got the company nailed down. So
yep.
That means your tax dollars are being spent to train these people, both state and your local, sheriff's office, all these others. And anybody watching this that's out there, you know the class I'm talking about, because that's what it's called. Go into the federal court system, and you know what that's called? Coercion. There's a court case on that. It deals with the CPS worker and a cop that a federal judge constitutionally said it's so well established with the Fourth Amendment, and even chastised them in the courtroom. You should have known better that you can't do this. But you know what? A little slap on the wrist and they go on. But it's these companies doing the thing that most of these police officers and sheriff deputies and such like that, because once again, the police work for the city, they don't work for the county. They're appointed. The other thing is too, is your city police officers or chiefs are generally appointed by your mayor, is the way that works for your city. The sheriff for your county is an elected official. So see, that's where the shift of power versus your sheriff is a constitutionally elected sheriff, but your police officers, even though they have the same, they work for the city. They're not elected; they're appointed, and it's all a private entity that a lot of people don't understand. You didn't elect those people. They may take an oath, they do, but their concept is to enforce basically city ordinances and this and this and that. That's their authority. Now the state has wrapped some of them up together and said, listen, we'll allow all of you to affect state stuff. Well, that's fine so long as it's constitutional, is what the church should say.
Wait, didn't we fight a civil war over this?
Yeah. Matter of fact, we did. I guess there's a reason they want those statues torn down. What kind of history they hiding? Oh, wait, we don't want to talk about that. We want to destroy the Civil War. We want to not tell the true story of what it was over. We want to make up lies.
Yeah, you
I
like
mean, we've
like
heard all the thing with the stars and bars and everything else. Now you come down to the south. Let me tell you something. You people that are in the northern areas have been taught all this. Everything's been over slavery. Come down to the south and get the true story because it's bullshit.
why don't you come
I
and
can
talk
tell you
about
that
some
too.
cotton farmers that some cotton farmers that wanted to use their goods to make good money and be decent money. So the North just got a bunch of fancy machines up here, and they had nobody to send them any cotton. So the South would still send their cotton over to England and get their stuff back better quality and faster, cheaper price. And the North said, wait a minute, we have all of this machinery up here, and no one's sending us any cotton to make anything. That, people, is why the Civil War was brought forward. And if you don't believe me, look at your history books before they're all destroyed. But enough
believe
about
it or
that.
not, a lot of people don't know that there was a series in time. What was it in the 1940s? That a series of history books were actually completely destroyed. The classroom books that were teaching things completely different. This has been known to go on through time, even through the canonization of the Bible. It goes through there. The oldest Bible out there known to thing is actually the Ethiopian Bible. So if it's the oldest and the most accurate with more books and everything else, you would think something a little bit more time period correct would be more accurate and a better gathering. But once again, then you go into Alexandria was burned down. They burned down the library. Why did they burn down the library? Because you got rid of all the history, right? Now they'll never know. And then people come out with Tesla and stuff like that. If some people have called it old technology or this or that, they silenced him. I mean, he had what, rats or birds or something when he died, and a penny, completely penniless and broke. But people like Ben Franklin and some of these others, they made millions and millions of dollars with all their buddies over there in the government. I mean, this is part of the shadow thing of the corporation that comes in, that it is driven by money and power. And that's the one thing it wasn't supposed to be. And they had become the thing that they hated. Only now you're the ones in charge. And now they got drunk off that power. That's how that goes.
Yes, sir. And then you wonder why they just decided it was okay to take our kids, because they got the power. They got
the power. They pulled you into contracts. You got a marriage license. When you got a marriage license, that means you brought a third party into your marriage. It's not necessary. What do they drive it with? What? Tax benefits? What? You mean the ones that were voluntary that you didn't have to pay? How much more are you going to believe through the lies? The onion is being peeled right before your eyes, and some people are not getting it. No, you don't need to file anything with the IRS. It is considered what? Voluntary. It's right in there, and that's coming out. Yes, it's voluntary, even to the point Trump's talking about shutting down the IRS. The concept of the IRS was to deal with businesses and the tariffs and to balance those particular things for things domestically. In other words, if you had something that you built or this and that, they got a percentage or a tax off of your profits. You had to pay these things. That's how it went through. Now, the tariffs and everything they're talking about, those are things that are imported. Okay, well, so we import less and we make more American and we do better products, to be honest with you. You want to talk about that? Let's talk about the products and the materials. I mean, now, now the average 2x4 is what? An inch and like 7/8 by.
For real. For real, you could actually use the joke board stretcher because you really do need one.
Yeah. I mean, literally, we cut products. Does it do the same thing possibly within structure? Every little bit you need is very important, which is why a lot of houses up north that had snow loads, what do you guys have for exterior walls? The 2x4s weren't working too well. So would you upgrade to a new construction 2x6 if you're smart, right? Or you dissipate the load better. This all goes within the science. That's why houses that are built up north are not the same as they're built down south. You can't. Snow loads. That's the thing you have to think. So when you have somebody that's down in Florida trying to tell you how to deal with something with your snow load, you're going to look at them and go, you're freaking ridiculous. You ain't got a clue what you're talking about.
That's right.
That's how divided we are lately. We don't have compassion and understanding. Oh, wait, you live in a different area. You have different circumstances. But at the same time, with CPS, it's got one thing in common. They're fully adaptable to all 50 states.
Yeah. I mean, we know that that CPS is in each state has control, but then we have certain federal things that we go by. What do you think the outcome of this is going to be when this is all said and done, and Doge and all of this stuff comes through, and they rifle through all of this stuff? Because it looks to me what Trump's trying to do is he's handing the power back to the states. That way they can be responsible for all of the wrongdoings, to allow the people in the states to be we the people and control that themselves, like the government was intended to be set up for. That's what this was supposed to be. And then there was a federal regiment that came and they looked over the Constitution and made sure that our rights as citizens of the United States were being protected. That way the states couldn't override them. That's what the federal government's intentions were to make sure that we were doing everything right and to make sure that the people that were in power were doing things constitutionally. And it looks like that's what Trump's trying to go back to. What is going to happen? What is going to happen to they don't just downright abolish CPS like they should? What happens to it if it gets handed over directly and thoroughly to the states?
Here's the thing: is the constitutionality thing that's never been discussed in this. These are programs that were done. Let's put it this way, Darren. We've now discovered that the vice president of the United States killed the president of the United States, or had him killed. We now have to rethink everything. Bottom line, do any of these programs even need to exist, or is this part of that same evil cabal, as they call it, corporation or whatever else, that needs to go? Because no, it's not constitutional, and they slid it by. And there's a lot of that has gone on that we have seen with a lot of other things. I mean, it's constantly been pushed and pushed and pushed to where they're getting away with so much. Because here's the thing: you, the people, or we, the people, were left in the dark. Why? You read your own Constitution and Declaration of Independence to completely understand it? Have you read the Federalist Papers to understand the frame of mind and thinking and the arguments they had before they wrote those particular things? No, you weren't taught that. That's a huge problem. But they got federal money and they were supposed to. Why they leave it out? To get control over you, because now you don't know your right. And all of this stuff's going on, and you figure it's normal, or you assume the judges and the sheriff's office, police officers, you're hoping they're doing the right thing. Well, they took an oath. Doesn't mean they're going to keep it. Welcome to regality. Good people, bad people. Am I saying all judges are bad? No. But you got to understand, this thing of family court came from the states. And then that's why it's under the Department of Health and Human Services. Then the federal government is supposed to do oversight on this. Okay, so within the Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Family and Children and Family Services, under that federal direction, that subcategory under the Department of Health and Human Services, is supposed to be watching all these things in the state to make sure they are federally compliant. Why? For two reasons. One, they get money. They get federal funds, therefore they have to meet the federal standard similar to the Constitution that is written for them. You can operate, but you can operate within these parameters. The problem is they've taken that and the state has given them, okay, we'll operate with those parameters, but we're going to give you one extra. We're going to let you allow it to go in the home that even cops are trained not to, and you're not even sworn people, you're just actors, so we can let you get away with it.
Right.
You see how this comes in now in the home. Now they got in there. Now, remember how we talked about before, within on that, around that check sheet for that home inspection, they ask whether or not, and I'm going to put this out here, and this is very serious. They put on whether or not you have weapons in the home, right? And this goes into their state database. This is a soft gun control, or what's the word I'm looking for? Gun registry. It's a soft gun registry. Whether there's a gun in the home or not. That information is not secure, and there are people with no security protocols for this information, and that's why you shouldn't. And now that information, I want to tell you how serious this is. That somebody from CPS that has access to this, including other, and they're talking about connecting this thing nationally. Then now they have access. This is that program called the National Human Trafficking Database. That's the CPS database, is just all connected. That's all it is.
Yep.
And when they do that, now you've got a national gun registry. But now listen here, and as soon as you take and you sell it off before it becomes federal, you know what you've got? You've got a strategic plan to take over this country and know where the guns are and where they're not in the homes, 100%, and that is an act of treason.
Yep. Treason, sedition, all of that stuff.
They are strategically getting in your home to gather intel. That's what they're allowing them to do. There's no security measures. Yeah, listen, man, they could go home and tweet to their friends or anything else on a secret little Snapchat group or anything like that, gathering this information. And what do they get? What's it about? Bonuses. Hey, man, hey, if you do me homes this weekend, what does that mean? Well, think why? Because they may pay those things extra bonuses for doing that, but the person that's paying them up higher to gather this information is getting it for not even pennies on the dollar, your information out there. You don't believe me? Go look up on their thing. It's a FOIA request. It's all over the internet on your state's website. It's in their training manuals. They cannot hide these things. It's a federal offense for them not to have them available to the public. And with the internet, everybody's posting everything on the internet. They're updating and saying you have to. You can't keep it on paper. This is the digital age. Catch up. We give you enough money.
Yeah, I like this one right here, guys. Check this. Look at the comment at the bottom right here.
What's that?
Check it out.
You damn right. You know what foster care is for? Those kids that have no family to go to, no aunts, uncles, grandmothers, anything else in their family, that's what foster care is for, when there's nobody left. You know how many children that is?
I do.
Minuscule.
I've got that here. You know.
You guys know this. Look at the numbers. But it's more profitable to put them in foster care. You realize that they can pay their own people. Let's put it this way: I was having a conversation. We made kind of a joke about this. That somebody was having this thing about their student loans not getting paid off, and it wasn't this that. Well, they've now created a program for it. It's called the foster care system. All you have to do is have all these different things, and they will give you enough money. You do not have to go to work and pay your student loan bill, and you get the food stamp program, and you get so much money a month, and they pay you for the mileage on your vehicle,
and all that stuff. Yep.
And you're being scammed.
You're giving them access to you.
And now these people that have no other skill to give and being in debt to the federal government comes along and saying, hey, as a social worker, we can qualify you as a social worker. What class did you take? Well, that's a social program or an ethnic. We'll hire you under this particular section. You're a specialist. See where that Chevron doctrine comes in? You're now a specialist for gender studies. So now you can deal with all the kids in the field this way or this way. That's how all that got into your state. That's right, guys. They qualified them as social workers and then gave them a license. We have a degree in this and that, and this is your viewpoint. But now they're in debt and they've got no job, and mom and dad's tired of being in the basement. So they got to get a job and do something, and they got tired and bitching and moaning about Burger King. Hey, be a foster care. All you got to do is get you out there, go out, get ready to get foster care. The other thing, buy a brand new house. Being in a crappy apartment, apply for it. That's all that's required. Get the money from that. Consider that your income. And they'll get you a brand new house. I mean, a trailer, a mobile home, or something like that. And it depends on where you're at. So you get a brand new place to live. And then you can take on more kids. Hold on now, because there's more money to be made because they figured this out. More money to be made. Now you just take on more kids. You've got a bigger place. Now you've got what? 4, 5, 6 kids. You're not doing a damn thing all day. You send the kids off to public school because that's where they get access to them all the time. Hell, great. I don't have to educate them. What do I got to be? Their taxi and feed them. And make sure that and you know where they're going for the clothes? Just put more money in their pocket. Oh, they'll go to the thrift stores. Here you go, kids. That's why the kids, foster kids, says, oh yeah, oh no, we give you money for nice stuff. for retail stuff. Where's the loophole for it? Well, we spent this much on clothes. Now look at all the clothes they got. Yeah, we went to say, hey, great shopping. That's great. But you were supposed to spend the budget on this and that. Nope, that's just more money in the pocket because they don't track it.
Yep.
If they come up, I spent this much on thing, it's like, yeah, just going, well, where's your receipt? They don't hold them accountable. It's a scam game, one after another. I mean, here's the thing, they can have completely different belief system. I had one lady say, hey, my husband, because he's professed Wiccan, I don't really have a religion. And this ultra-Christian nationalist group over here is part of CPS and involved in the CAC service that say my belief system is a danger to my child and took my child. And got to put her in foster care because their beliefs are protected under the First Amendment. They don't care. This is a bully system. It's pretty ironic if this whole anti-bullying thing comes through and just take it and roll over crap that's going in school, and now all of a sudden you go to CPS, that's okay, don't take it, just roll over, take it, even though it's not right, and don't fight back and stand up for yourself. You know, you see how you're being conditioned even from the schools? Oh, wait, yeah, she got that psychology degree, and yeah, we figured those things out. That's okay for you. The flip side of psychology, not the bullshit. Oh, wait, that's manipulation. They're just putting it on the kids.
Yeah. Hey, that's kind of like this right here, guy. Watch this. It's kind of like this. Ready? Like this. Perfect. Yeah, the government
they give you false flags. What does CPS offer for the children? We're here for the children. We'll do what's in the best interest of the children. How are you going to do in the best interest of everybody that you don't know?
They don't even spend enough time with you, nearly enough time to decide whether your family's good or bad. I think the Guardian ad litem spent about 22 minutes with us in total. And I know that they were something similar like that with you. And their job is supposed to be to report and check on the family. How much?
How much time did you get with your kids Guardian ad litem before the first hearing?
0.
0.
0 seconds.
And tell me how those Guardian ad litems are writing reports.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Pages and pages and pages of reports.
Called out in the courtroom for it.
Yeah, she did not meet with the children. She did not talk to the children. She talked to me for like 2 seconds on the phone. I don't think the other one.
You had to meet in her office after the trial was over, and we were going to the appeal to the civil courts. That's when she finally had a meeting. Now, during this hearing before the magistrate, it was magic because the GALs, the CPS attorney, the CPS worker, and a couple other people that were involved in this all went into a room and had a meeting and left out her attorney and my attorney, including having meetings with the magistrate in the hallway, not in chambers, but out in the hallway to discuss what they were going to do. Because I wouldn't shut up about the constitutional rights violations that were going on that he had entered my home with no warrant. And I caught him. I had to have something hung on the line because there was nothing there. All hearsay. Didn't even follow the state Supreme Court's ruling. Listen, this is how out of control this judge was. Was brought up, hey, if you've only got this, no other evidence, then basically a coerced forensic interview, really, that we proved in court as easy as pie. The judge did not care. That you're supposed to take what's this the case. You know what she said? Oh no, it always went back. It was so bad. It was this, it was that. I'm just going to do my own thing and not even follow my own state Supreme Court's rulings.
You can't do with GALs, actually. So, because my children's GAL obviously did not have their best interest in mind, obviously did not care to let them talk about anything, did not know the first thing about my kids. I asked
no ADA
if we could have her removed and somebody different on the appeal. And he told me, I don't remember exact words, but he told me no, because that's going to cause more problems for you if we try to change it.
Force you into what they want.
Like,
And they've intimidated all the attorneys around for the same thing. Don't stand up for the right thing. It's like the lawyers that you hire are just basically trying to keep you out of trouble, and hopefully they're popular enough with their little court buddies to get what they want. You don't stand a chance.
I don't. There's just no way. I'm sorry, but there's just. We tried.
It's terrible stuff, man. It's really terrible.
Oh, and then on top of it, we had a caseworker, a different caseworker, and an assistant show up. Now, we had court on our first day of court on Monday. The Friday before, this other caseworker and this and that tries again to come in the house and talk to her on private property, violation of Fourth Amendment right. I'm not leaving without this, or I'm calling a cop and I'll have you both arrested. I'm going to talk to her. And then she even said, well, we give her a runaround. No, you're not. Done this. No, there's a posted sign. No warrant, no entry, no nothing. And her little friend, well, we got to report this and this and this and that. And then I'm like, well, you're not the cops. That'd be a criminal offense thing, where the cops would be here, young lady. I said, you're lying. That something has been violated, a protection order from you're full of shit. And you've got no evidence. They called her out on her bullshit. Well, I'm going to have, what is she going to do?
So I
About the
told
judge.
her. She said she was going to show up in court. I told her I wanted to come before I said anything more to her, and she had told me she was going to show up in court to voice her concerns. So I said, all right.
Mass threat.
She never showed up. It was all
A show. It was to intimidate witnesses before a court hearing.
Yeah, they wave that thing right in front of you. They're like, well, we're going to look at this report. It could be a bunch of malarkey in there, because how are they writing a 40-page report or 50-page report on your child and your relationship when they've never even been there?
No.
Well, that's the thing. Like, they don't know the first thing about your kid. And I mean, like, come on. It takes years to learn your kid, to know your kid, to know everything about your kid. Like, not an overnight thing.
Well, and here was the other part of the thing is, one, they were actively in treatment because they're on the scale for autism to work on trying to get them either having special needs or, DA. And I think it's what is the age they finally can diagnose with most kids? Is it 7?
7 is like bottom.
When early signs, they can start early diagnosis for your kid.
It doesn't always work out.
Yeah.
When they're that young, their brains are still developing.
Yeah. So that's why there's a cutoff for some of those things you guys wondering out there for your kids and diagnosing them too quick. No, their brains don't develop. Or 7 is when you start seeing some of the early signs, unless they are born with a birth defect. As
You can see it
some
earlier,
kids,
but they won't be able to diagnose it
properly.
until much later.
Well, they can't communicate as well. I mean, they get better in communication. I know it's very complicated. And there's the beautiful things. You heard it from her. It is complicated. So how can a caseworker walk in and assess you in less than 5 minutes? Especially with special needs children that are on the autism scale or anything like that. They cannot.
No.
And they're not equipped. And when they take and the kids in treatment for that, and your CPS worker, your GAL, and everybody else, and nobody goes after mental health or active treatment things to cover their tracks, that's right. They didn't pull any of that stuff, and they're required to by their own policies and procedures because it would throw their
money.
Had to get it.
All about the money, my man. All about the money.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So, but they shouldn't. I mean, they have no experience with kids.
But the thing is, if they don't understand, we were educated enough to call you out on your bullshit, and we knew what we were looking at and knew it was a crime. There was the problem where you fucked up with us.
Yeah,
we were trained in our rights. We knew our rights, and we knew what you were going on. So guess what? You get ready to play a game of fucking around and find out, and you ain't gonna win. Because it's coming down. All this ain't even the worst. We have to keep part of ours quiet for certain legal reasons or other things that are going on. But yeah, soon everybody's
sooner than later. Sooner than later, baby. Sooner than later. Oh, it's exciting. It is exciting. sources all
Well,
waiting on someone.
And here's the thing too, Neil, we had a federal law attorney actually helping us trying to get some of this together before, and that's when I was working with Dallas, and then he recommended this federal attorney because he doesn't practice law. That's right, the lies are not true. He doesn't practice law. He referred us to a federal attorney that then fucked us over and tried to get our shit thrown out because of what it'll uncover. So then we went a different route, pro se to juris, to where we don't need an attorney. Why? We can represent ourselves. We don't have to have that benefit showing to the court. When you have an attorney, you're not able to represent yourself or understand the process because you weren't taught your rights. That's right. Have you? Well, I don't need to go to legal school. I don't need this. Really? Ever got a ticket? Ever got this? Ever got that? Did you know it's unconstitutional that you're not supposed to be in a state courtroom if it says the state versus you?
Oh yeah, yep.
But you're in case all the time. I mean, hey, I've had a few traffic infractions here and there, and it was the state versus me. There was no harm person, but I had to pay those fines. There, I was caught up in it. I wasn't doing it corporately. I was doing it privately. Now you guys are saying, oh, well, this is why it makes sense. The states weren't designed to do anything other than work on the commerce of their own states, not the people. But you got convinced to be part of the system.
Right. You got that
That's
right.
why they switched from what? A certificate of live birth to a birth certificate that says live on it. Now you know those arguments with that old man talking about I am the living man. All you have to do is pull out his birth certificate because I know that old man's got one on there that says certificate of live birth. I am a live person. I'm not the dead person. You can prove it in a court of law if you have the proper documents, and you can reclaim yours.
Yep. Sure can, man.
Matter of fact, I used to have that. Have you got that where you do the birth certificate? Look it up. Somebody turned me on to that. And you can actually request a copy of your birth certificate, actually reclaiming it and getting a certificate of live birth. And if your parents are...
I have both of them. I have a certificate of live birth and a birth certificate.
Yeah. So you got to watch your terminology. Yeah, with that.
Right. They're two whole different things. They have two totally different things.
They're two different court documents. And people go, well, no, it's not the same. And here's the thing, to work in their system, you know what they forced you to do? Go get a Social Security card. Bring in your birth certificate. Hey, I need that. You have to plug into our system to be part of it. No, that's just the commercial side of me when I go to work. That doesn't mean in my private life. And I think we're looking at going back to the Constitution. So going back to that original question, I see a lot of things going. But once again, you're going to have to shape the states to be constitutionally compliant, which is what the federal government was supposed to do, was to be the oversight for the states to make sure they were constitutionally compliant. But we've got so wrapped up and distracted with our debt and this and that and all the other bullshit noise that we've had, they're not doing their job. That's why Trump's coming in under this. Those administrative offices that he has is to aid the president of the United States to get reports of what's going on all across the country. Okay? Health and Human Services, our food, the FDA, all that is under that to report to the president what needs to be done and then give reports to Congress under deposition and special hearings. That's why there's something major that you'll see a thing that on
here, right?
Realize you'll have a Senate oversight hearing. This is the Senate coming before this particular thing that has authority over it, like the DOD, and all that other stuff. They bring these people before Congress and say, you need to answer these questions. That's what you see a lot on these TVs. If you watch some of this stuff, is them holding them accountable. And that's why Congress is saying, you don't get a choice when we ask for something. You produce it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
The corporation's got too much power. Well, we ain't going to give you this. Well, we ain't going to do that.
But we've given the corporation the power. That's the problem.
Yeah. But we, the people, can take it back. That's the beauty of our Constitution. When it gets to the point of any enemy, foreign or domestic, that has invaded our country, we have the right to shake off the chains of tyranny. And if it comes down, even to the point of using the Second Amendment to do so by force.
Right.
That's what it says in the Constitution. Now, do we want that? No, we would much rather take a different path and head it off like we've done it in the past with other parties and other things throughout our history. But once again, if you don't know our history, you don't know these things have happened.
Right.
And everybody, oh God, I hate history. Well, I get you hate history. But once again, you're being programmed not to like history because they don't want you to learn. That's why they give you the stuff in your food and everything else to make you too fidgety and this and that. And when they wanted to breed you, they breed you like damn cattle, didn't they? The baby boom, remember that? Oh, now we want to do population control. What comes out? Birth control. More than your average condom. Those type of things. This has all been controlled like a stage. People are being played. You're nothing more than cattle. And that's the way they look at it. And that's not the way corporate America can look at it like that. But our elected appointed officials and actors are not supposed to. Matter of fact, they're supposed to do the opposite. Uphold the Constitution and protect the people. But they're not. And when they fail to do that, then we the people that are the government have the ability to remove all these people and hold them accountable. That's the power that they didn't teach you in school that you do have as we the people to do. Now we can do it through writing our senators, we can do it through petitioning, we can do it through marches, we can do this, we can do it through this or that, and there's many different ways to do it, petitioning Congress, the Senate, for these changes, on a soft issue. But on a major issue, the biggest thing is going to be in your courts. That's where you're seeing right now when all these things go where Trump does this, and then somebody over here complains of this. Where do they settle the dispute? In court. In a federal court. Not in a state court, a federal court. Bam. As soon as they try to pull some shit in one state or the other, what's it do? It has to escalate because the U.S. government, it's got to go up to a federal courtroom. Well, now it has to go to this because of what it is. And the proper case, it has to go in the proper courtroom, depending on how it's classified. There's a lot of complex things in the federal government, but there's a reason why. Powers separate. And you don't have judges hearing cases in the federal court on, property thing all day, and the next day they're hearing, this particular thing. There's certain courts directed that they specify or they specialize in those courts, such as civil rights. They know this is a civil rights judge. He knows it inside and out. He's got the laws, the case law, and everything else in his head. That's all he does is spew that shit all day long. Drives his wife nuts. Constitutional rights. I guarantee it. But he can rule fair because he knows he has knowledge and power to adjudicate properly. That's the way it's done.
It doesn't stop with us. It doesn't stop. If you win your case or I win mine or whatever happens, doesn't mean that it's throwing the towel time either.
No.
And that seems to be what a lot of people are forgetting too. Like, I got my kids back. No way. If you get your kids back because you've been listening to all these podcasts and all of our information, our Dallas's information, our Betsy Davis's information, you owe it. You owe it to us and yourself to come out and try to still support this movement, because what this movement needs is more people with success stories that came from different advocates, along the way, so that we can start painting a picture for them as well. I mean, that's just the way.
And it's not just that. Regardless if you got your kid back or not, you are still locked in their system.
Yep.
They still have your information, and they can come back at any time. And they will use past complaints, even though you were clear, to come after you again and again and again and again for anything. Why? You're now on their radar. They'll even do, hey, well, we got a call, an anonymous call, and this and that. And they don't have to. Why? You're just in the system. You're doing a checkup, is what they call that. There's been no call. It's a bullshit lie. And they'll come check up on you. And those people that have been through CPS, got their kids back, you know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. So giving up on this fight is not an option for you, because your kids are still in danger. And like Darren said, on the Tip and Punisher show, listen, man, parents that don't give a shit, they'll walk away. Ain't that true, baby? We know that for several people.
Sorry, what's that?
people that don't give a shit about their kids, how much time and energy will they put towards seeing those kids? You won't have to worry about them because they really don't care and they'll show their true colors. And then there you go. That's a parent that doesn't care. That is what, put them on child support, anything else, the whole 9 yards, great. They don't want nothing to do with it. I get that. But parents fighting to be with their kids through a 50-50 time and a fair and equitable time is more than reasonable. And I saw a post the other day too that said, well, what do you do when you have, and this word has come up a lot, is this narcissist abuse this husband or this and that I've had, you have this and that. Listen, you've been trained to think some of that stuff. It's probably not all that bad. It's normal arguments, but you all probably weren't grown enough to figure out as you get a little bit older, you need to grow up a little. And that's why this whole thing with no contest divorce is bullshit. It's nothing made up in the state. You can get a hold of your kids and into your home and everything else is struck up by them to generate more revenue. For what? More lawyers. You know how many lawyers are out there now? I mean, fighting these things for you just to be normal and be left alone and this and that. Now they can pry into your home. I mean, come on. I mean, it's ridiculous. But they have this no fault contest divorce. So when you get upset or you have an argument or your thing's not happening, it gives you no reason to work on your relationship and see through. Know that other person is not perfect. I mean, she ain't perfect. I'll tell you, I ain't perfect. But we have grace for each other when we go through those things and those times and this and that. That's part of a relationship. But most people don't. They get one little thing and they ain't happy or there ain't another this, that, and it's bam, out the door they're gone. I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's not just one side, it's both. It's this instant gratification. Sometimes things take work. You want to dig a hole in 6 by 6 by 6. You ain't getting it done fast with a shovel. It takes time. And that's how they eroded our rights and took away from us. Why? Because we were so well entertained with, look at what all we had to come out in our, Darren, I mean, just in our lifetime. You have the television. You went from stage stuff. Everything. You went from radio. We went from radio to, we saw records, we saw 8 tracks, we saw cassette tapes, CDs, all this just within music. I mean, you know, through all this transition of all this technology, now you guys just pull it up on your phone and hit your podcast, and you got a whole fucking library. You know what?
You get your own damn, like your own outlet.
Information flows. You see the birth of the internet, mass flow of information that was meant for infrastructure to communicate things across from one side of the country to the other to make it faster for government uses and business uses. It was designed. But then it adapted to something that they could realize they could sell. Then you have the invention of your first home computers. We saw all that shit. The cell phone, the birth of the damn cell phone. Hell, we had a phone on the damn wall with a cord. If you were lucky, you had a cordless. When it upgraded to cordless, you was badass.
That was it.
That was the shit, man.
We were the first people in our yard. We were the first people in our neighborhood to have a VCR, man.
Or there was 2 types of VCRs.
Beta, VHS.
Yeah. Beta and VHS. The little cartridges were the little betas, or was that?
So you know that Beta lost that fight because it was too expensive. They couldn't handle it because the film in Beta was more superior.
Oh yeah. And then VHS. Well, it was cheaper to produce.
Right.
Just about the same quality or just a little bit more. Yeah. I mean, this is all in our lifetime that we're going with our kids. We're going, you guys realize how fast we moved? That's never happened in this country that fucking fast, ever, or even in our lifetime. That many advancements, that many things that have changed. Now we're to the point. I mean, now they've got AI fucking robots and dogs, and I mean, all this science fiction shit's coming true. Listen, science fiction it's a prequel to something that's getting really cool to happen. So that's one thing we learned growing up too. Hey, all this stuff was saying Star Trek is not that far from real. We got to open the doors and all these different things that were going on there. Wow, you know. But there's also, remember too, that a lot of the dark and evil side and the people that wanted to take and don't want to see and want power and control are the same people that also use this stuff against us. So even it wasn't. So it's got two sides. Every, you know, three sides to every coin. You know, it's one side.
Yours, mine, and the truth.
Yeah. So,
my friend, that was a quick one today. Quick hour.
Just, you know, it doesn't take long when it's just our world, man, and we just kind of peel it back and hopefully educate some of the younger people realizing, man, we are moving fast. They use that to their advantage, but now people have had time on this shit. They're getting educated. They're using this internet for what it's for, which is to do your knowledge. You don't need. We just proved with COVID-19, you don't need a schoolhouse or teachers or anything else. You can do it in the house and everything else. And they hate the fact that they don't have access to you because you're on public property versus your Fourth Amendment, you know, protected property. You can homeschool, which is why they hate homeschoolers. And which is why any homeschooler has it, man, they're protected. They've got lawyers for all sorts of stuff for discrimination that happens to them. And they're usually better educated, you know, people, professors, everything compared to what they have. Homeschoolers are preferred, you know, over kids that are actually go to public schools. They have to catch up on a lot of areas. But man, it's rough. And the point is we need to go back to the Constitution. We need to realize what our forefathers intended, that we should be free with all the things that we have and live our lives the way we could, and not having somebody else coming in and telling me this is good or bad. If crimes happen, then if crimes happen. Other than that, fuck off is my thing. Remember your Fourth Amendment, remember your Second Amendment. Keep safe, keep clean, and kick ass. And don't give up hope.
Yes, sir. All right. So, let me think here. I'm trying to find something in particular. Hold on one sec. Guys, again, don't forget, Sunday nights is CPS victims. CPS Gunning for Justice, or Gunning for Jesus Almighty. I got my head all crammed up. I need to unwind here. Don't forget, Sunday nights at 9:30 is Gunner's show. Jesus, help me out, Gunner.
Gunning for CPS on every Sunday night.
Holy shit!
At
wow.
9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to play it by ear. There may be some things to where we may be gone. If not, Darren's aware of what's up, and he will keep you guys apprised the best he can and as legally as he can. We're just going to leave it at that. Other than that, go follow the show, especially on YouTube. You get the notifications. So if something pops up on a time before that, you're going to know something's up.
Yeah, so make sure you pay attention. Pay attention. That all being said, I'm the CPS Punisher. I'm going to go let my brain unwind today because it's been cranking. And you guys have a good night. I'm the CPS Punisher. I am out of here. And so is Gunner. And hopefully good things are coming.
In the back.
They separate us from our neighbors and they call it social distancing. It's actually a bigger plan. It's all social conditioning. They took away our privacy. There's always someone listening. The election's planning riots for the citizens. The government has always lied. It's history repeating. But the problem is the schools dumb you down so you believe them. If you try to speak the truth inside a tweet, they delete it. Whole administration Satanists who claim they praising Jesus. Every year there's a new name for the enemies that we're facing. It's Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and now American patriots. Who would have thought those who love the country the most will be hated on by folks who call America home? Both political parties are equally just as evil. They've been working for themselves, don't give a damn about the people. Black, white, yellow, brown, humanity needs you. Cause united we stand, divided they will defeat you. The man on the news says the problem is me. I'm just a small town boy with big American dreams. The world's going crazy and they're lying to us. Don't know who to believe, so in God we trust.
Y'all missing what was written in them pages. That was history they wrote, now you want to change it. You racist.
You hate this. Why you want us all to be locked up in cages? I can't stand the left, everything they say is depressing. Ship them to the Middle East, they can learn oppression. Believe me, I mean this quite literal. I love liberty, but I liberals. Wear a mask, stay home, complain and moan. Talk about privilege on your phone in your Range Rover, Starbucks, mango, foo-foo, whatever. Cloth I'm cut from can handle any weather. This paper in the rain, we ain't the same. Stand for the flag, only kneel when I pray. I just pray we go back to the old days, land of the free, home of the brave.
Man on the news says the problem is me. I'm just a small town boy with big American dreams. The world's going crazy and they lying to us. Don't know who to believe, so in God we trust.
Yeah. I see through all the illusions. Refuse to hear rumors or accept that we're losing. Easy to get caught up, consumed by the consumer. Truth is so diluted, people starve by the confusion. Comfort is the killer, your dreams execution. Cruel persecution if I make a contribution. Home of the brave look like a mental institution, and there will be revolution if we can't find resolution. And the threat is promise. Stand up, pay homage. They tell lies, I'm being honest. It's the times upon us. I know that God got us, so I'm fighting in His honor. Hear the cries of the crusaders as we're strapping up our armor. Either set a higher ground or drown in a drama. If I die for what I love, then my death will be nirvana. We fighting for our freedom, don't believe what they've been feeding. Be the change you want to see, the warrior that we're needing.
Man on the news says the problem is me. I'm just a small town boy with big American dreams. The world's going crazy and they're lying to us. Don't know who to believe, so in God we trust.
We don't trust the news, the government, pharma. We just want freedom, to give up that the offer. We don't want the lies, the politics, or the drama. We just want the life that was promised by our fathers. We don't trust the news, the government, or pharma. We just want freedom, to you have that the offer. We don't want the lies, the politics, or the drama. We just want the life that was promised by our fathers.
The man on the news says the problem is me. I'm just a small town boy with big American dreams. The world's going crazy and they lying to us. Don't know who to believe, so in God.
Imagine being a child who has been torn away from their security blanket, their parents, the ones who stopped the boogeyman from terrorizing the nights and curing their boo-boos when they scrape their knees. Now just imagine how they must feel when the CPS meant to protect them tears them away from their supposed abusers and places them with strangers who have zero comforting skills. They need to be calm. They are confused, lost, panicked, and needing their parents, but CPS took them away for the purpose of saving them. The kids don't even know why, and they are told that the parents they attach to no longer want them. What do you think that does? Do you think that this is how protecting children